Joined right now by Michael Chadwick from EMCAP Lending. He's a private money lender. Mike, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of people out there hear the term, but they don't really know where private money lending applies.
Well, private money applies primarily to investor-related real estate purchase opportunities, construction opportunities. We look to provide very quick financing solutions, close in a week to 2 weeks even, no appraisal required. We have a lot of relaxed borrower financial underwriting requirements compared to what a traditional bank or a traditional lender would have. We're able to do that because we sort of operate outside of some of the consumer protection and regulations that the traditional banks are required to follow. So that allows us, again, to close quickly. It allows investors to use our money almost like cash, or as if they borrowed from a friend or family. We come in, we can underwrite a loan in as quick as 2 days and close in as little as 5 to 7 days. And especially a competitive Boston market like the one we have now is the real key to the business, and is obviously a need that we're seeing present itself a lot more. Banks, traditional lenders, again, just take too long to transact, and sellers, when they have an opportunity to sell to somebody who is a cash buyer, for an example, they're going to look at an offer with a financing contingency, especially a traditional financing contingency, that just won't compare to a cash offer. So our borrowers use our money much like cash. They use it for construction financing, and they use us for quick acquisition and reposition loans that they know they're going to be in for a short term and out.
Easy on the conventional lenders, will you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's my side of it. No. I'm kidding. But in all honesty, you said you can get things done a lot quicker. You can close on a property in 7 days. It's just not possible on the conventional lending side. What I find interesting, and this comes up all the time, is why doesn't private money lend to people just buying traditional homes for primary residences?
Well, the reason is because we're private, and we, as a result, avoid a lot of the consumer protection laws, a lot of the regulations that the banks are required to follow, which drags the process out. So by sticking with lending to investors, we are able to move faster through the process. We're not required to have appraisals. We can just streamline the underwriting in a way that just makes us a much more efficient lending platform, which is obviously, again, important for folks, investors in Boston, where it's highly competitive.
Now, with it being highly competitive, one of the things on private money that people kind of get taken back by is the rates. The rates are a lot higher. There's points involved, but there's a reason for that. Correct.
Yeah, because we're taking a little bit more risk. Obviously, we maybe underwrite a little bit higher of a loan to value. We're not taking a deep dive into the borrower's financial condition, and as a result, we do require a higher rate. And that's the way that people look at it. The investors, the borrowers that we have, use us again like cash, which, if you look at the speed in terms of our execution, in terms of our timing to close, that ultimately allows people to win deals they wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to win. So there's an element of doing business with us that allows you to actually acquire the property, to compete with other offers, number one. But number two, if you're doing a construction project, which most of our borrowers are, you have a situation where you can come in and close, begin construction, and get through the process of maybe 25% completion through construction. You can get through the construction phase much quicker. So the most important element, I think, as an investor, is to focus on time value of money. And if you look at our rates and you compare them to a bank rate, and you look at the time it takes to get through the bank process, to close, to construct, you can do it much faster with us. And as a result, you get through the investment quicker, you can do more transactions. There's a lot of different factors, but ultimately I think our investors really appreciate the time value of money, because we come in and close quickly, and they're through the process before the traditional lenders could even get an appraisal back.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times flip project into conventional financing. Going back to your point on speed, it's about getting the money, almost acting as cash, right? Getting it done, and then you can flip it over to conventional financing down the road. From the conventional standpoint, they want your loan for a long period of time. From the private money lending side, once again, tell me if I'm wrong, but you guys are usually a short-term loan.
That's correct. Yeah. So a perfect example of that would be a multifamily property that's being acquired that's, maybe needs some work, needs, some unit updates. A borrower of ours will come in and renovate the property, use our money to acquire, renovate, reposition, raise the rents, and then in comes the traditional lender. When they have a little bit more stability in the cash flow, they can underwrite the property a little bit stronger, get the loan proceeds up higher than they would have if they had financed the acquisition, and it's a win-win. So the borrower was able to acquire, renovate, reposition, and then in the end, the traditional financing comes in, takes us out at a much lower rate, but at the appropriate time for that particular financing execution to come in. Traditional lenders don't like the risk of repositioning assets. We like the repositioning element. We like to see a distressed property coming in, being purchased by an experienced borrower, taken through the construction, and resulting in a much better product in the end to sell into the market or to be refinanced out by a traditional lender.
So we can work. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no,
I hope that you'll come in and finance all of our borrowers out of our loans so we can keep making loans and keep growing our book, because that's the name of the game, is to make short-term loans be the borrower's biggest asset in terms of acquiring and constructing real estate.
Why EMCAP lending?
Well, we're an affiliate of the Prakashani companies, and Prakashani has been around for 60 years. We're a very entrepreneurial, family-owned business. Jim Prakashani and Betty Prakashani sit at the top. They're also investors with us, and they are very, again, entrepreneurial, opportunistic real estate investors themselves. We're also borrowers of traditional bank financing. So we know the ins and the outs of being a borrower ourselves, the complexity, the timing, and all the headaches that go along with traditional financing. So, but we're also a business that's been around for so long that we have the stability of being around for the future. We're not, a lot of the lenders that play in the private space tend to come and go. Some are undercapitalized. Some present that they can close quickly and do the things that, we do. We just execute, and we won't, we just have from the top down, we just have all the support and entrepreneurial spirit, yet we're institutional and have that access to capital to be able to grow and to be able to provide borrowers with financing solutions in any economic condition, whether it be what we think is close to the peak in terms of our current market condition, or whether the market takes a turn and goes down. Our money is countercyclical in a lot of ways, and I think our borrowers want to know that we're going to be around forever, and having that long history of success the Prakashani companies has really helps EMCAP in terms of how borrowers view us and how our mortgage brokers look to us to satisfy their borrowers. They're coming to us. They know that we're institutional. They know we have access to the funds. They know that we're going to close, and yet they know that our foundation is built on entrepreneurial spirit, and that's who our investor is. So I think our investors like to see that entrepreneurial spirit in their lender, and they're not used to that in the traditional sense going to a bank. The banks are looking, at loans, and they're saying, "Why can't we do this? What's wrong with it?" And we look at loans and we say, "What can we do? What's it going to take? How do we get it done?" And our borrowers really seem to appreciate that, and that's allowed us to grow.
That's a great attitude to have. What about the footprint? Do you lend anywhere in Massachusetts, New England?
We lend currently in Rhode Island, Mass, New Hampshire, and now Maine. We've primarily stay, in and around the Boston metro area and to the coast mostly. We try to focus on higher quality single-family residential, new construction, commercial. Our markets tend to focus around the Boston economy, markets affected by Boston where folks can commute to and from, whether it be areas even as north as southern New Hampshire, all the way to the coast. And even then, the areas where Boston employment corridors tend to affect even seasonal markets where people are coming in and looking for second homes, for example, in the Cape or Portsmouth or the coast in Maine. You know, those second home buyers are usually coming from the Boston markets or from the cities, and so we try to stay in what we would call highly liquid markets that are attractive from a Boston commuter sense. That we have the demand drivers and the liquidity that we know that the exit strategy of our loan is protected.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Thanks.
So a lot of people want to get into real estate investing. They're wondering what that hot market is. Boston is tough right now. I mean, to find that deal,
right,
you have to be a sharpshooter in a way, right? So is there a market out there, whether it be in super hyper local in Boston or in anywhere in New England, that you see as a great opportunity to invest right now, or is it really property specific?
No, I mean we see a great opportunity as a result of the infrastructure, the transportation infrastructure that's going in and around Somerville, as an example. We're seeing prices certainly creep up, but at the end of the day, the product in Somerville is outdated. A lot of multifamily properties being converted to condos. And what's happening is the folks who are working in and around Boston are looking for an affordable option to South Boston, Southie, to Cambridge, to just downtown Boston, Back Bay, and they're finding it in places like Somerville, Charlestown, East Boston. And those properties, quite honestly, are ripe for a product like us, where we love that. We love construction. We love that transitional element. So taking a multifamily and condominiumizing it and selling it out in pieces is really been a big business, an important part of our business, and we're seeing a lot of action from that. And to your point, the properties are trading so fast, and I think the reason why a company like ours has been able to grow so fast is because we've been able to provide that financing solution so people can come in and buy quickly. There's very few opportunities out there that an investor can step into and compete with a cash offer, and you have to have that access to cash or a financing solution like us to close quickly in order to, again, just to acquire the property, never mind reposition it.
All great information. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Bottom line, if you need to move quick and you want to act as if you have cash in hand, private money is a great option.
Right. Yep. And if you focus on time value of money and you understand how quickly we can help the investor get through the process, not only on the closing, but on the construction side, it starts to really make sense. And the quality of our borrower would surprise a lot of people. I think there's somewhat of a stigma in the hard money, call it private lending space. And the deals that we're seeing and the quality of the deals, the quality of the borrower, it has been really surprising. And I think that we're really poised to grow and increase our footprint, increase our borrower base, and I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. And if you'd like to connect with Mike and the team directly, check out EMCAPlending.com for quick and fast money. Remember, we have more tips just like this right here on Boston.com.